Oh, he proposed to me in like 3 days.
3 days?
People, it's not like they don't get good people in their life. They really don't know how to value that and how to keep those good people.
And I experienced a lot of darkness, like significant darkness.
He's surprised me so many times with flowers. Randomly, he'll just call for flowers. And there have been so many times when my friends have been here and he's called. Suddenly, I'll have a flower delivery and I'll say, "Kiska?" Everybody would leave, but he was the only one who did not leave. I told him to get out, just go away and leave me. But he just stood. He went to the door, and then he just looked back at me, and I was like a numb, vegetable just sitting in one corner.
There's been experiences in our relationship where, maybe it was a month where it wasn't as good financially as it was in the previous month. And, I'm getting emotional about that and feeling like sinking into my own minor depression about that. And then she's like, baby, it's fine.
Welcome to Pink Villa. I am Sakshi Arora and I have with me Shama Sikandar and James Miliron. Welcome to Pink Villa and congratulations,
Thank
you're
you.
getting
Thank you.
married.
Yes.
That's such a huge thing after a courtship of I think quite a few years, right?
Yeah, 8 years I think. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So obviously my first question would be, how did you meet and when did you meet?
We met 8 years ago at a restaurant. One of our common friend made us meet each other, not intentionally, to get involved, but it was just a very casual dinner that turned out to be a very, very long night. And that's where I met him first, and it wasn't a love at first sight. It was really like, I was in a very different zone. I was just so full of love within me, and I was just like, I don't want to do any relationships anymore. Not for some time. I was really wanting to just enjoy my singlehood. And then I meet this guy, and he just catches me the very first day he meets me, and then he didn't let me go.
Yeah, and I would say that wasn't my intention also, was to like catch her or somebody. I also at that point in time was
Yeah.
like doing my own thing in life, and but she was just irresistible. So I mean, what do you do? It was like, it was very, very natural. It was,
Yeah.
I felt like I had met somebody who I was deeply connected to, and
Yeah.
we just kept meeting every day.
We didn't spend a day apart after that.
Yeah.
It was just so natural. We just wanted to stay with each other. We just wanted to talk. We just wanted to know each other. And we felt that we could actually have really long conversations about anything in life.
Right.
And that was the most important thing for me, the communication in a relationship. So even if it was just, we didn't know what it was in the beginning, it was very intense, and it was very honest, and it was very deep. Like it meant something for the both of us.
Right. So
Yeah.
after how long did you come to the conclusion that this is serious and we'll be together now? This is like commitment.
Oh, he proposed to me in like 3 days.
3 days?
2 or 3 days.
Depends on your definition of propose.
Wow.
But-
You said you love me, so that is a proposal for
yeah.
Indian women. If somebody says I love you, then
Yeah.
it's a proposal, right?
Yeah, and I told her, she asked me later on, she said, why did you say that you love me, and why did you say it so quickly?
Yeah.
I said, because I do.
And I was
Wow.
bowled over by the courage and the guts, because in today's time people are so confused that even if they love, they're not sure whether it's love or no. Then they make their life more confused by thinking, how can it be love? Why is it so early? Like there's so many whys and what if and this that. But he was just so sure, and his surety just bowled me over, and I was like, whoa, that's a gutsy man. To say I love you to me also.
Right.
Because very, very few men actually have that,
Surety.
surety and the guts to actually even say that to me. I have people say that I have a very overpowering personality, or I have a very strong aura. So it's very difficult. But he was just so easy. It didn't feel odd or funny or weird to me. It actually felt real. Otherwise, if anybody else would have done that, I would have probably said, okay, bye, and never see me again. But with him, it was so genuine, and it was so from his soul.
Yeah. Shama, you were going through a very rough patch
Yeah.
before you met him, right? It's out in the public, and you have often spoken about depression
Yeah.
and anxiety and things like that. What do you think that how did that experience change you, or how did it prepare you to welcome this kind of amazing change in your life?
That's a very good question. You used very good words. That it prepared me. It actually prepared me to welcome him, to welcome his integrity, his honesty, his simplicity, his courage, and value that. Because often I've seen in the relationships that I've had in the past, be it friendship or anything, people, it's not like they don't get people, good people in their life. They really don't know how to value that and how to keep those good people. Good people come into your life, but you need to really understand and love that and value that for it to stay in your life. So most people would lose good people in their life because they don't know how to keep them. They don't know how to be grateful about them. They don't know how to value that. My depression, my that dark phase taught me how to value every small little thing in life. How to value life in itself. How to value just breathing. How to value just seeing. How to value having two hands. How to value having 2 feet to be able to walk. How to value having a body that really supports you in every way. That really is, it makes you stand on your 2 feet to face the world. If you don't have that body, you'll not be able to experience life as you want it to be. So, when you learn to appreciate these basic things, you learn to appreciate everything in life. Everything. So, as I said, I was already so full of love, and I was already in that grateful gratitude vibrations. That's when he came into my life.
They actually say that you only find your soulmate when you are in love with yourself.
Yes,
If
that's
you're
true.
not content with yourself, you will just attract people who will
Yes,
teach you. Like
yes,
it will kind of
yes.
take you to that moment where you fall in love with
Absolutely,
each other.
absolutely. And
With
that's
with yourself,
And that's
yeah.
a fact, because when you are in love with yourself, you throw that vibration in the universe. That now I'm in love. So universe can only send you love.
Right.
When you're not in love, when you're unhappy, you're sending those kind of vibrations in the universe. So universe will only send you unhappy people, sad people, or people who create more misery in your life.
Right.
And then you keep cursing the universe. But it's actually not the universe trying to take some revenge with you. It's you trying to teach you. It's all about you.
Yeah.
So my being was teaching me to be prepared for what is to come in future, because I was manifesting that future at the same time. I was wishing for a lover who would love me the way I love myself and I love other people.
Yeah.
But first I need to love, like how I loved other people, I need to love myself like that. I was capable of loving other people, but not myself. I used to fight with myself. I used to judge myself so much. I used to
Compare yourself
compare.
with just others that
Not really. I was not in a compare game. I was always, okay, you can say that, but in a good way. I would always want to be a better person. It was not like, अरे उसकी life better है तो मेरी क्यों नहीं ऐसी है. No, it was like, oh, I want to be like this person, but I'm lacking that. Oh, so the lack in that in any manner is a lack. So I wanted to fill myself with love so that I don't find a partner out of need, but out of joy, but out of acceptance, but out of love, pure love. And that's what happened between us.
Yeah. James, I have to ask you this. Of course, she's a public figure, so it's out in the open. How was your life, or did you also go through a reboot of sorts in life before meeting her?
Oh, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before.
I'm glad.
Yeah, certainly. There was a point in time where I was very, very religious. During that point in time, you can say that I gave the majority of my heart and soul into those years of my life. And I experienced a lot of darkness, like significant darkness, near the end of that period of time that changed my whole perspective on life. It changed my perspective on friends. It changed my perspective on loyalty and all kinds of things. It was a very, very difficult time for me. And coming out of that period, I had probably a solid 2 years of really deep introspection, learning about who I was, even as an adult. I had been away from my family for years at that point, but there were still things that I had not uncovered about my own personality that then, once I broke free from some things that you could say I was conditioned to do,
Would you like to elaborate on that if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. So I was a part of a religious organization for a period of time where we were very, very strict about the way that we executed our lifestyle. It was actually really good to a degree. I mean, everything that we did was just trying to spread love and goodness, but you can say that there's sometimes in life there are extremes, and the organization that I was with swung to an extreme where there was a lot of like control and manipulation happening internally. And so I was sort of like coming up in that space, and I was very well respected around the country, and I would travel, and I was involved in a lot of different organizations and charities and stuff. And then one day, because of a decision that I made, which in my mind was small, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it struck a chord with some other people in that organization, and I started like, I was kind of like fighting it from the inside because I didn't believe in the way that, you know, maybe people in that group were trying to control other people. So I was trying to raise awareness about that and sort of change things from the inside, and I got completely steamrolled by the people there, and essentially got kicked out of the thing. So then, obviously, you know, if you spend years of your life building a reputation for yourself and trying to make a change in the world and trying to be a good human being, and that's literally the only goal that you have, and then because of politics, you know, things get, you know, take a turn for the worse. Without going into too much crazy detail, that's essentially what happened, and it put me in a position where for the next probably 2 years of my life, I was just very introspective, like thinking about what really mattered, what didn't matter, thinking about what I wanted to really do with my life, thinking about who I was, you know, sort of like mid-20s, like identity crisis.
Quarter life crisis.
Yeah, quarter life crisis, yeah. I used to call it that actually. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I wouldn't trade it. As challenging as it was, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it really, really opened me up to become who I really am. And it was at that point where I decided that I'm going to be who I really am and who I really want to be. Within, you know, probably a month or so, we met. And it's crazy because I feel like she's the biggest gift that I ever could have received.
Sweet. I think every girl would die to hear that, no?
So I say I'm extremely blessed, because even in our relationship, our friend circle, a lot of people, whenever they look at us, they like, you know. The other day, Tahira and Ayushman were saying, "You guys are goals, man. You guys are," because they are our neighbors, and I was like, "That's so sweet." I mean, coming from these guys who've been, you know, so inspirational for so many people, and we didn't even know that they notice us so much. You know, we're friends. We meet down, you know, in our building, and we walk and all that. But that's about it. But I didn't know that they notice the togetherness that we share, and not only them, a couple of other people. You know, keep telling us that we love the chemistry that you guys share, and you know, girls are like, "Where did you find him? I want a boyfriend like him."
So what's the most romantic thing that you have done for each other?
He's surprised me so many times with flowers. Randomly, he'll just call for flowers. And there have been so many times when my friends have been here and he's called. Suddenly, I'll have a flower delivery, and I'll say, "Ye kiska?" And he'll send me flowers, and I'll be like, and he writes something very beautiful, because he can write.
Where did you find him? You have to tell me.
So all my girlfriends are like, "Who's sending you flowers?" And then I'm like, James sending me. Oh my God, my boyfriend doesn't send me flowers.
Yeah, it's funny
It's
because
funny.
it's funny too, because we live in the same house. We've been living
Yeah.
together for like 8 years, so it always feels weird for me to like order flowers to my own house for her.
And then he'll make sure that nobody gets it because he wants to get it, or he wants me to get it straight away. So he'll plan that whole thing, and you know, it happens many times. But then we also have very funny stories many times, that when he tries really hard to do something for me and it
Oh,
falls
God.
flat. So
Give us an example, no?
the first time he took me to where did we go, baby? What was that place?
We were in
Monaco.
Monte Carlo.
No, Monaco.
Monaco.
Monte Carlo.
We went for your birthday.
Yeah. So he took me there for my birthday and to celebrate my birthday, and I'm so happy. Like, you know, he's taking me to the best restaurant there, because I love food. And he did a whole research about food. Where would she like? It's a 7-course meal, blah, blah, blah. The world's best chef and this and that. All that which he did nicely. And then when it came the time to cut the cake, I'm thinking now my cake will come, now my cake will come. Now, so he's like, okay baby, chalo. I said, chalo? What do you mean chalo? He's like, I said, it's my birthday, I have to cut a cake. He goes, cake? Cake? Cake, oh shit, cake, I didn't think of cake. And then I'm like, how can you not think of cake? I got really upset with him. I said, you did everything, but you didn't think of my cake? And he goes, I guess it's not very, and he doesn't have a sweet tooth. And he doesn't like cutting cake on his birthday. He said, can you please get me a pizza rather? I want to cut a pizza and eat rather.
Yeah.
So he didn't think of it. So that created such a trauma in his heart that now on every birthday of mine, there'll be 10 cakes ordered by James. And on one birthday, I remember when we came here, he ordered 5 cakes. Because I eat gluten-free, this, that, blah, blah. So he was not sure, he was ordering online. So he ordered one gluten-free, one sugar-free, one this, one that. And then to top it up, when we go on the birthday spot, we were actually celebrating down here. And we were living in another house. I got a call like, the press is there, ma'am, they're all waiting for you. So we all like, chalo, jaldi chalo, because I was getting late and I didn't want people to wait for me. So he also ran with me. And we come here, we are there, all my friends have brought me cake. And then when it's time to cut the cake, where are the cakes? There are no cakes.
Okay.
There are 5 cakes in the fridge, but in another place, not here. So he was like, now I've told her, I said, don't order cakes. Okay, let me order that.
Yeah.
So do you guys fight? I mean, I don't think so.
No, we don't fight. Who fights?
I would say we don't fight like other
Yeah,
people fight, that's for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
We argue.
We have
Very
disagreements.
small, we don't even argue
We don't
actually.
even argue, we have disagreements.
actually have disagreements. And as I said, if you are an open, introspecting personality, out of personality reasons, you are open enough to listen to the other person. Because that's both of our personality. Our idea is to express what we are feeling, but at the same time be open to listening to the other person, because there could be multiple reasons why somebody does what he or she does, or did what he or she did. So that perspective towards life changes our arguments to disagreements. It makes us not blame each other, but speak out what we are feeling and what we are going through, and at the same time be respectful to each other, and at the same time be open to listening to each other, and have no ego. We both don't let our ego come into our relationship. If it is somebody's fault, we are more than willing to say sorry.
That's commendable. That brings to my next question. The true test of a good relationship is when you stand by each other in your tough times and you're not at your best.
Yeah.
So what were those times in your lives when he stood by you and you were like, thank God that if nothing is working out, but still I have this person?
I'll tell you the first incident when I had just met him, and of course I was still going through my bouts of depression. I would get depressed from every now and then, and the first time I actually had that feeling in front of him, when I would go through those feelings, I just didn't want anybody around me. I wanted people around me, but I would just push everybody. I would just push them to go away from me, and nobody ever dared to really, go against that decision. Everybody would leave, but he was the only one who did not leave. I told him to get out, just go away and leave me, but he just stood, he went to the door, and then he just looked back at me, and I was like a numb, vegetable just sitting in one corner. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm sorry, but I can't leave. I'll sit here, I'll just be with you. I don't know how to fix this, but I'll just be here. And then all night, I literally did not speak to him. I just lie down on my bed and he just held me. And that's how I spent my whole night. And when I woke up in the morning, I had better mood. I was in a better mood, and that changed a lot of things. That was the first time a guy had the courage to be with me in that zone. wherein my friends would not be there.
Still getting emotional, I can
Yeah.
see.
And that continued, even till now. It's not like I was healed, but I was not fully healed. So it took me 3-4 years into the relationship where I would keep getting these bouts, and then he went through it with me. He just stood by, and he just would tell me every time I went through that, with all his patience, with all his support, that it's okay, you're going to be fine, I'm here. And that's something very commendable, that not many people have that in them, and he had that because he's a very good listener, and he's also his whole being is there for me, and that's the kind of love I always wanted and manifested. So I still remember I told somebody, I was watching this movie, Notebook. It's one of my favorite films. And there's one scene where this girl, she goes into the water and she looks at the guy and she's like, say I'm a bird, say I'm a bird. And he goes, no, you're not a bird. Like, no, say I'm a bird. I'm a bird. Right now I'm a bird. And he goes, okay, if you're a bird, then I'm a bird too. So, that movie would put me in tears all the time because that's the love that I have within me. That's the capacity of love I have to give to people. And that's the kind of love I always wanted. In fact, we even spoke to each other that let's die like that. When we die, we should just die with each other. So that's how deep it has been for us.
Yeah. And they say that being in depression is hard, but dealing with someone in depression is also very hard. So that's amazing. And what was your side of the story? When did she stand with you in your tough time? And you were like,
So she's helped me, and she stood by me in probably more ways than I can count. I'll give you a few examples, but first, like, what I can say about her character is that she's full of love and she's full of acceptance, and she only wants the best outcome from any moment in life. And obviously, I'm a human being like everybody else, and we have our hard times. And I think one thing that's important to mention is that I think as men, we feel very insecure often about if we experience any kind of failure in our life or any sort of setback. And firstly, it's not something that we generally want to share with the woman who's in our life. And secondly, a lot of men feel pressure from the women that they're with in order to, produce in a certain way, or to be a certain strong person in a given time, or we feel like we need to be perfect all the time. And she's like so easy, and very much understanding of anything. There's been experiences in our relationship where, maybe it was a month where it wasn't as good financially as it was in the previous month, and I'm getting emotional about that and feeling like sinking into my own minor depression about that, and then she's like, baby, it's fine, there's nothing to worry about, next month is going to be great. Or another example, I used to play football on Sunday mornings with some guys in Juhu, and one day I played too long and made the wrong move, and I tore my ACL in my knee, and I literally came crawling into the house. I came up the lift, and it was early morning. We used to play at like 6 a.m. and so she was still in bed Sunday morning. I got home at like 9, and I'm crawling across the floor. I was in so much pain, and I crawled up into the bed. I just pulled the sheets up over me, and she's like, baby, what happened? And I said, baby, I screwed up. Baby, I screwed up. Like, I felt so guilty, and
But he's so cute. He does say, whenever he feels that he's messed up, he's like, I'm sorry I messed up. I'm sorry I messed up.
But then she has so much love and compassion in her heart. It would have been maybe another woman to say, how dare you go and break your leg like that? We've got a family to take care of. We have so many things to do. Now how am I going to take care of you for the next 2 months while you heal? And she's like, baby, just take it easy. Got everything covered. She's the least nagging woman that anybody could be with, and that makes my job very easy.
Do you feel comfortable crying in front of her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, very much.
Definitely,
He's a very emotional man. There's another thing I like about him, because many men are taught otherwise. They rarely cry, and because they rarely cry, there's so much suppressed energy within them. Because they're also human, right? They also need to let it out. They also need to feel their vulnerability. And vulnerability is so much power. We are taught to actually just be totally opposite to that. So, when I see that in him, that's why I call him courageous, because it needs courage to be able to cry in front of your woman or in front of anybody. And everybody cannot cry like that, So he shows me his love. He shows me what he's feeling. He shows me his gratitude. He shows it to me. Everything is expressed so beautifully that it just helps us both. It makes our relationship very easy, to be honest.
It makes it very
Yeah,
honest.
and very honest, yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations and all the best for your new life together.
Thank you. It was a fab
Thank
interview.
you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
asking
so
such
much.
amazing questions.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Shama Sikandar,
And I'm James Milliron.
and you're watching us on Pink Villa. If you like the content, please do like, subscribe, and share.
Like, share, and subscribe.